Every story we tell is a journey, a thrilling adventure that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Before we begin, let us know where you're watching from. We love seeing our community come together from all around the world. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Tomorrow, we have a special story just for you. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. See you on the next adventure. She slapped a royal guard, then instantly regretted it. The sun shined brightly over Buckingham Palace, casting a golden glow on the historic gates. Tourists from all over the world filled the square, cameras flashing, voices blending into a lively hum. Families stood by the barriers, eager to catch a glimpse of the changing of the guard, a tradition that had stood the test of time. Some whispered in awe, while others simply took in the moment with quiet admiration. But not Lisa Thompson. The 42-year-old American tourist was anything but quiet. Dressed in a bright yellow sundress, she stuck out like a sore thumb among the respectfully dressed crowd. In one hand, she clutched an oversized soda cup, the ice inside clinking as she took an exaggerated sip. In the other, she waved her arms dramatically, talking far louder than necessary. Everything about her screamed, "Look at me!" Seriously? Lisa scoffed, eyeing the royal guards standing stiffly in formation. Are they even real? Her voice carried over the crowd, drawing a few nervous glances. A young couple from France exchanged whispers, shaking their heads. An older man nearby, camera in hand, let out a sigh and muttered, "Here we go." Lisa, however, was just getting started. "These guys get paid to stand here all day and not even blink," she said, laughing loudly. "Man, what a job. No talking, no smiling, just standing around in those ridiculous hats." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Some ignored her, trying to focus on the ceremony, while others raised their phones, sensing something was about to unfold. Lisa, loving the attention, turned toward the nearest guard. Lieutenant Nathan Carter, a 6 feet 4 inches, 32-year-old royal guard, stood motionless. His broad shoulders, his crisp red uniform, and the tall black bearskin hat made him look like something straight out of history. His face remained calm, unreadable, as if he didn't even hear her. Lisa smirked. "Oh, come on, big guy," she called out, stepping closer to the barrier. "Not even a little smile? What are you, a wax figure?" The crowd murmured. Some chuckled awkwardly, others shook their heads in disapproval. But Lisa wasn't done. Her eyes glinted with mischief, her grin widening as a bold idea formed in her mind. She wasn't just going to mock the guard. She was going to make him react. Lisa leaned against the barrier, eyes locked on Lieutenant Nathan Carter, still standing in his rigid, disciplined stance. The crowd around her was beginning to shift uncomfortably, some murmuring disapproval, others raising their phones, sensing that this was about to escalate. Lisa took another long sip of her soda, the ice clinking loudly. "Wow, they really train you guys well, huh?" she called out, her voice laced with mockery. "Not even a twitch? Come on, you've gotta at least blink once in a while." Silence. Carter remained motionless, his expression unreadable, his eyes fixed straight ahead. His red uniform was crisp, his black boots polished to perfection, and his tall bearskin hat added to his commanding presence. The lack of response irritated Lisa. "Oh, I see. Typical British service, no personality," she scoffed, turning to the crowd as if waiting for them to agree with her. Some chuckled nervously, but most looked on in disapproval. A man in his 50s, holding a camera, shook his head. "She's really pushing it," he muttered. Lisa, oblivious or simply enjoying the attention, took a bold step forward, pressing herself even closer to the barrier. "Hey, big guy. I'm talking to you," she waved a hand dramatically in front of Carter's face, expecting some kind of reaction. Nothing. The crowd murmured again, a mix of curiosity and discomfort. Lisa grinned, her eyes flashing with mischief. "All right, folks, want to see something crazy?" she asked, turning to the crowd with a smug expression. "I bet you I can make him move." A young French couple gasped, while a mother pulled her child back from the barrier. "Lisa, maybe you should stop," her travel companion mumbled, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't think this is a good idea." Lisa waved him off, her confidence soaring. "Oh, relax. What's he gonna do? They're just here for show." The air felt heavier, the tension rising. People fidgeted, their gazes shifting between Lisa and the unshaken guard. Some looked nervous, others intrigued. Phones were raised higher, cameras zooming in. Lisa stepped back slightly, took a deep breath, and then with a smirk, declared, "Watch this. I'll make him move." And with that, she crossed the barrier. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd as Lisa Thompson stepped over the barrier, her sandals clicking against the pavement as she moved forward with audacious confidence. Her travel companion's face turned pale. "Lisa! No, seriously, stop," he hissed, his voice barely audible over the murmurs and gasps from the crowd. But Lisa didn't stop. With a smug grin, she sauntered closer to Lieutenant Nathan Carter, closing the space between them. His tall, unyielding frame towered over her, his red uniform crisp, his golden buttons reflecting the sunlight, but his face remained impenetrable, stone-cold, disciplined, unreadable. Lisa smirked, stepping even closer than before, invading his space. "Wow, not even a blink," she mocked, tilting her head dramatically. "You're really just a statue, huh?" The crowd was frozen, their eyes darting between Lisa and the unmoved guard. A man with a camera whispered, "She's insane. This is a royal guard. She's breaking serious rules." Lisa laughed, dismissing the growing tension. "Come on, big guy," she said, placing her hands on her hips. "You can't be that serious all the time." Carter didn't react. His jaw was set, his eyes steady, his breathing controlled, trained to withstand exactly this kind of behavior. But Lisa wasn't satisfied. "Maybe you're not even real," she chuckled, reaching forward as if to poke his chest. A wave of horrified gasps broke out. "Don't touch him," someone in the crowd shouted, but it was too late. Lisa's hand hesitated midair, barely brushing against the fabric of Carter's uniform before she pulled it back at the last second. She turned to the crowd, laughing smugly, her arms outstretched as if she had just won a challenge. "See," she called out. "Told you. They're just standing there. They don't." Crack. The sound echoed across the square like a firework. Lisa's head snapped sideways, her face frozen in pure shock. The crowd collectively inhaled. Lieutenant Carter had moved. And in one swift, disciplined motion, everything had changed. The sharp crack echoed across the square, stunning the crowd into silence. Lisa Thompson's head snapped sideways, her smug expression wiped clean, replaced by pure shock. The crowd held their breath, eyes darting between her and Lieutenant Nathan Carter, the Royal Guard who had just moved for the first time. But it wasn't what Lisa had expected. Carter hadn't lashed out, hadn't broken his discipline, but he had reacted in the way only a trained soldier would. With calculated precision, he had stepped forward, shifting his weight with controlled force, sending Lisa staggering back. His movement was sharp, professional, and unmistakably deliberate. The action alone sent a clear, unspoken message: you have crossed the line. The crowd erupted. "Oh my God, did you see that?" someone gasped. "She actually made him move," a young man whispered, phone still recording. Lisa stumbled back, gripping the side of her face as her brain scrambled to process what had just happened. "What the hell?" she stammered, her eyes wide, her confidence cracking. Lieutenant Carter, however, had already returned to his original position, his expression still unreadable, his posture perfect once more, as if nothing had ever happened. That's what made it worse. Lisa hadn't just been put in her place, she had been completely ignored afterward, as though she wasn't even worth acknowledging. The crowd's reaction shifted. A wave of murmurs, laughter, and applause broke out among the spectators. "She deserved that," someone said. "Serves her right for acting like a fool," another added. Phones stayed raised, recording every second as the situation continued to spiral. Lisa, humiliated and panicking, spun around, looking for someone, anyone, to defend her. But all she found were disapproving stares. Before she could react further, a sharp, commanding voice cut through the air. "Ma'am, step away from the guard. Now." A Royal Guard officer, dressed in a Navy uniform, was already approaching, his expression cold and authoritative. Lisa's stomach dropped. What had started as a joke had now turned into something far more serious. Lisa froze, her face burning with humiliation as the Royal Guard officer closed the distance between them. His broad stance and unreadable expression sent a clear message: this wasn't just a warning. "Ma'am," he repeated, his voice firm, unwavering, "you have violated royal protocol. Step back immediately." The crowd had fallen silent, but the cameras were still rolling. Dozens of phones were pointed at Lisa, capturing every excruciating second. Just minutes ago, she had craved attention. Now, she was drowning in it. Lisa stammered, glancing around, looking for someone to back her up. But the faces in the crowd had changed, no longer amused, no longer indifferent. Only disapproval. "This is ridiculous," Lisa blurted, her voice shaking. I didn't do anything wrong. It was just a joke. The officer didn't flinch. You ignored restricted barriers, engaged in disorderly conduct, and physically harassed a royal guard, he stated, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. That is not a joke, ma'am. Lisa stepped back, her hands raised slightly as if to protest, but she saw the security team moving toward her. This was happening. This is insane, she tried again, but it was no use. The crowd murmured, a mix of disbelief and quiet satisfaction. A man in a baseball cap shook his head, muttering, "She had it coming." A young woman with a phone snickered, whispering to her friend, "This is gonna go viral." And it did. Within hours, the video of Lisa Thompson slapping the royal guard and the moment she was confronted by security had spread like wildfire across social media. Police car light American tourist slaps royal guard. Instant regret. Loudspeaker woman tries to mock the royal guard. What happens next stuns everyone. Fire tourist crosses the line at Buckingham Palace and faces immediate consequences. Comments flooded in. Speech balloon, she really thought she was the main character. Huh. Speech balloon disrespecting tradition for clout? She got exactly what she deserved. Speech balloon, the way the guard just stood there. Pure discipline. Lisa's face was everywhere, and there was no escaping it. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Nathan Carter remained exactly as he was before, standing tall, unshaken, unbothered, and professional. And Lisa? She had wanted a reaction. She got one. Just not the one she expected. What do you think? Did Lisa get what she deserved, or do you think the reaction was too harsh? Let us know in the comments. Would you ever dare to test the discipline of the Royal Guard, or do you respect the traditions they uphold? And if you were in the crowd that day, how would you have reacted? Would you have spoken up, recorded the moment, or just watched in shock? Movie camera eyes. Drop your thoughts below. We're reading every comment.